I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about December 21st, 2020. The truth, the lies, and things that may or may not be true, we just won't know until that day comes. So hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that you can stay in tune with our strange world. On December 21st, 2020, the two biggest planets in our solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, will appear to collide to create one large superstar. To be more specific, Jupiter and Saturn will look exceptionally close for the first time since the Middle Ages. On the winter solstice, which is also December 21st, the two planets will seemingly create a super beam of light. According to Patrick Hartigan, an astronomer at Rice University, alignments between these two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are rather rare, occurring once every 20 years or so. But this conjunction is exceptionally rare because of how close the planets will appear to be to one another. You'd have to go all the way back to just before dawn on March 4th, 1226 to see a closer alignment between these objects visible in the night sky. Keep in mind, this event will not happen again until March 15th, 2080, assuming the world doesn't end. So keep an eye out on the southwestern horizon to catch Jupiter and Saturn creating one giant star. In just the past 2 weeks, two mysterious monoliths have appeared in both North America and Europe, appearing and disappearing without a trace. The first monolith, located in Utah, was discovered when state officials who were flying over southeastern Utah were looking for sheep as part of a routine task. Officers from the Utah Department of Public Safety spotted the large metal object on November 18th, 2020. They found it in Utah's Red Rock County and had no idea how it got there. According to helicopter pilot Brett Hutchings, the large metal object appeared to be 10 to 12 feet tall, and it looked like it was planted there. Lieutenant Nick Street, a spokesperson for the Department of Public Safety, even said that it was odd that the monolith had been embedded into a rock. He says, "Somebody took the time to use some type of concrete cutting tool to really dig down, almost into the exact shape of the object, and embed it really well." On November 27th, 2020, less than 10 days after the monolith had been discovered, the three-sided metal structure disappeared. All that was left was a triangular metal piece that used to be on top and a hole where the base of the tower once stood. Later, it came out that it was removed by an unknown party whose pictures you're looking at now. So while we may not know where it came from, we do know that this monolith was taken apart and destroyed, supposedly. But this story gets weirder. Just a few days ago, on December 1st, 2020, a similar monolith was reported halfway across the world in Piatra Neamț, Romania. The monolith, like the one discovered in Utah, is about 10 to 12 feet tall and apparently composed entirely of a dimly reflective metal. However, unlike the Utah monolith, this one seems to have a variety of markings on it rather than a smooth surface. It was reportedly found standing on the Batka Domine Plateau near an archaeological site overlooking the city. As of the making of this video, the monolith still stands. As it turns out, astrologers have been warning us about 2020 for years, because this year delivers a number of rare, life-altering, and intense planetary moments. According to astrologer Narayana Montefiore, astrologically speaking, the cycles of many different planets are coming to an end, bringing drastic changes that will unfold over the next 30 years. Astrologers have long known that the rare and epic celestial happenings of 2020, which have been sprinkled throughout the year, include a number of planetary retrogrades, conjunctions, eclipses, a stellium, which is when multiple planets cluster together near the same degree of the same zodiac sign, and more would bring cataclysmic events, large-scale changes, and full paradigm shifts. But no one knew exactly how these energies would play out in real time. A few other things that are happening right now that may or may not relate to this date are the splitting dent in the Earth's magnetic field and the government confirming UFOs. To build on that point, a number of documentaries have come out this year that go deeper into the government's admittance of UFOs as well as aliens, which may be the government's way of slowly introducing us to the idea that we're not alone. Even former Senator Harry Reid has come out and said that the government is hiding a plethora of stuff that is out of this world. The biggest lie of December 21st, 2020 is that the Mayans predicted that it was the end of the world. First off, the Mayans never actually predicted the end of the world. The whole 2012 thing was wrong from the get-go. Like us, the Mayans had units of time that they used to count. For example, days versus months versus years, etc. They weren't exactly the same as ours, but it was a similar concept. On December 21st, 2012, one of their larger units of time just happened to roll over, similar to our date of 1999 turning into the year of 2000. There is some indication that they celebrated things like our version of New Year's Eve, but there's absolutely nothing that indicates that they thought the world was going to end. On top of that, apparently some scientists who may or may not exist said this: following the Julian calendar, we are technically in 2012. The number of days lost in a year due to the shift into the Gregorian calendar is 11 days. For 268 years, using the Gregorian calendar, 1752 to 2020 times 11 days equals 2,948 days. 2,948 days divided by 365 days a year is 8 years. But guess what? This whole translation of Julian to Gregorian is also wrong. The Gregorian calendar does not lose 11 days per year. To simplify this whole thing, the Julian calendar, which was largely used a long time ago, did not account very well for leap years. So hundreds of years ago, countries moved over to the Gregorian calendar, which does a better job of accounting for them. When the switch was made, the Gregorian calendar had to jump forward around 10 to 11 days to compensate for the days that were missed in the past. But this was only done once, not every year. So saying that we've skipped 8 years is just straight up wrong. Also, that doesn't even matter because December 21st, 2012 was converted to the Mayan calendar from the Gregorian calendar. So there's no reason to bring the Julian calendar into the conversation at all. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this video, please hit that like button so that other people know what's going on December 21st, 2020. And also hit that subscribe button so that you can see part 2 of this series, which I'll be posting after December 21st, to follow up on the information that we're about to go over. According to Wikipedia, the Age of Aquarius is when humanity takes control of the earth and its own destiny as its rightful heritage, with the destiny of humanity being the revelation of truth and the expansion of consciousness, and that some people will experience mental enlightenment in advance of others, and therefore be recognized as the new leaders of the world. There's been a lot of speculation about when this is going to happen, and the latest theory shows that December 21st, 2020 may finally be time for the Age of Aquarius to rise, which actually makes sense if you've ever heard of the Great Solar Flash. If any of you have ever heard of the Great Awakening map, which I'll link to in the comments below, you've also probably heard of this particular section, which references the Great Solar Flash, aka when our solar system passes through geometric boundaries, raising vibration and consciousness, which causes the sun to release flashes, and where we will go from a 3D world to a 5D world. According to quantum physics, there are 10 dimensions of reality. The first dimension is length, or x-axis, a straight line with no characteristics. The second is height. The third is depth. The fourth dimension is time. The fifth is a world slightly different than ours, from which we could measure similarities and differences to our own world. The sixth dimension is a plane of all possible worlds with the same start conditions. The seventh dimension is a plane of all possible worlds with different start conditions. The eighth dimension, a plane of all possible worlds, each with different start conditions, each branching out infinitely. The ninth dimension is a plane of all possible worlds, starting with all possible conditions and laws of physics. And the 10th dimension is a world of infinite possibilities. As anyone who's ever taken a science class knows, we live in a world of length, height, and depth, aka a 3D world. And supposedly, on December 21st, 2020, we're going to be moving from our 3D world to the 5D world, where we can encounter a world that's slightly different but also slightly similar to ours through the alignment of the planets. It could be an alternate dimension, a parallel world, another planet. We won't really know until it happens. So hit that subscribe button to make sure you see part 2, and I'll see you next week for how we've caught up to Black Mirror. Thanks for watching. Cataclysmic